something that looks roughly like this. Firstly, I'm going to show you how to improve the texture of this and then attach this middle section to this bit and then build the wires that go around and hold the kind of donut brain, as it were, inside. So firstly, let's improve this texture, because this texture is rubbish, because it just looks it's really shiny, and we need to make it look less shiny. So I'm going to add a noise texture. So just like that, and I'm going to plug the color into the height. So you can see that we've already kind of rumpled this a little bit, which looks a little bit better. And what we want to do is also at the same time take the same color and put it into the roughness. So now what we get is we get some bits that are shiny and some bits are not. The problem is it's not very, it kind of looks a bit rubbish. And so like we can increase the scale of this and we can change the detail and we can add the roughness, but all it does is it sort of makes this look a bit rocky and that's not really very good. So we can bring down the strength of this and that looks a little bit better, but what we want to do is we want to have like little bits of the metal that are shiny and little bits that are not. So this is not working well enough, so we're going to add so that's Shift A to add, and I'm going to add a color ramp, which is in converter. So we put that in there. And what this does is black is reflective, so you can add more reflective stuff, and white is less reflective. And then you can kind of crush these colors together. And then what you'll get is that some bits will be reflective and some bits won't. And then you just got to do a little bit of a balancing act between which bits will look better and which bits won't. So you can see that this is kind of improving it a little bit, and I'm going to make the scale a bit bigger, and that looks pretty good. I don't mind it, and I'm just going to reduce the strength of that even more, so it's like really subtle, and then bring up so there's more of that. There we go. So I think that that's a much more interesting texture for this. Right. Next up is building the wires. So I'm going to go into this mode. I'll just go into shaded, and we're going to go from the front because this bit is flat. It's going to make it easier. I'm going to add a curve this time, and I'm going to add a path. You see the path like this. And the path in edit mode is made up of these little points, and the closer they are together, the more of a corner you're going to get. So go here, you can see that because this one is kind of far away, we're getting less of a corner. So we're just going to fiddle around with this to kind of get this right. So this is a bit fiddly. So if you want to make more, press G or E to extrude, E, 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 E. I'm going to make it go in through the middle. I don't know where the middle is, so I'm going to put on X-ray. And now you can see what's kind of going on. Make that go like that. That looks pretty good. If you don't have enough divisions, grab two, press right click, subdivide, and you'll get another one. And I'm just pressing G to move really quickly. And that's pretty good. And now I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to do this very, very fast. This one I think can go all the way. And E to extrude, E to extrude again, E to extrude. I'm not being very careful with this, and I'll show you why in a minute. And then E to, that's not enough. E to extrude, E to extrude, E to extrude. Like that kind of thing. That looks pretty good. I mean, it's not brilliant, but it's not bad. And I'm going to, if these are, just grab the whole lot. I want to see what it looks like. That's not bad. That's all right. Okay, so it doesn't look great, and it doesn't look much like a wire, and that's because it does not have any width. So in the the properties of the path. You've got geometry, go all the way down here, and you can increase the depth to give it more weight. So I'm going to make it like this, and that is good enough. Okay, and although it was pretty quick, it does work. Now I'm going to give it a texture, because at the moment it just looks like that. So I'm going to go to here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my existing textures. So I'm going to take steel, and I'm going to duplicate it. So you just press this little button here that creates a copy of it, and this is called Steel 2, and I'm going to call this sort of like wire. Okay, so wire 1, and we're going to do the shading on it. So let's just kind of zoom in, and so we got this bump that's going all over it, and that's okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bump out, because I think this bump is not, we don't want that on this one. And I'm going to move this over here. And I'm going to put in a new bump. Everything's running a bit slowly because I'm screen recording and animating at the same time, so it's not good. I'm going to add a different texture. I'm going to add in a wave texture. And I'm going to plumb that one in here into the height. And you can see not much difference because we haven't got a lot of strength on it. I'm going to bring that up a bit. There you go. It's quite a lot now. So I'm going to do it 0.4. So you can see that I've got like these little bumps going along it. There's not very many, so I'm going to increase the scale. Ah, there we go. And now that looks like a wire. And I'm going to change the color of my, because I want it to be like gold or something like that. Maybe not that gold. So something like that, that will do. And there we go. We have a wire. Easy. Right. Now I'm going to go to the top. I'll go back to shaded mode. I'm going to take this. I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to rotate. I think it's 72 degrees. I'm going to duplicate, rotate 72 degrees. Wires done. So easy. Right, so that's going to hold that in. And then what I want to do, sorry, there's a dog barking outside. If I have a moment, I will try and kill it, but I'm doing a tutorial. Okay, so choose any way you want. I'm just, I reckon just adding a mesh will probably work. Something like a cylinder probably be good enough. So I'm going to add a cylinder and, scale it like this. Scale it in this direction and just add it in intervals, duplicate it, etc., etc. Okay, so now we'll end up with something like this, and then rendered. There you go. Looks great. So that's going to be, and you can see that like my texture is looking a little bit different from the preview version. The preview version looks like this, but my rendered one looks like that. So that's something that you sometimes have to work on, is to kind of like figure out why something is looking kind of not as good close up as when you are. And that's normally to do with this mix. And so try and kind of get your texture right using this mixture, and then it will look great in the final render. Okay, so now I'm kind of good to go. And the next bit I'm going to do is building the legs.